Today, on This American Dice, 2 deaths, 1 discovered and 1 set in motion. What happens when we let someone to our heart and fear the worst? And what secrets do our own families keep from us? Find out what happens today on This American Dice.
The first scene takes place at the Civil Hall. Aji and Yugure had been called down to the Civil Hall. For one of you, it's probably not difficult at all. It's maybe like you're already on your way there. It's like your office hours, and so this isn't even particularly inconvenient. I'm already on my way to work. This note just says, like,
go to work.
To please come into work. And it's signed by Yogo Osako.
Your job is working.
Yes. And Yogo Osako, the Scorpion Clan magistrate assigned to this region, but asks both of you to do that. So one of you was probably scheduled to come in, maybe both of you were, or maybe one of you was not. So, but it's addressed to the two of you specifically. And as you guys head into work, the actual Civil Hall doesn't seem particularly different in any way. And when you guys get to kind of your little workspace or your little office, your little meeting room, Yogo Osako a servant will eventually tell you, like, oh, Yogo Osako's here to speak with you.
Do we go see her? Or do she come see us?
I think she'll come and see you. You're all in, like, the Civil Hall, kind of like where your offices are.
So I can say, okay, as well. Let her in.
Sure.
As opposed to, okay, I'll go see her.
Absolutely.
Alright. I think this was my off day.
Okay.
But that's okay. I don't mind having to work.
Alright. So, Yogo Osako comes in, and she kind of sits down and basically says, I wanted to give you some news that I think the two of you would find particularly pertinent.
Thank you.
So, last night, actually early this morning, Miyamoto Ogai was found dead.
Oh.
As someone from his clan, I wanted to inform you about this, and as someone who had taken up the effort of protecting him as a visiting dignitary, I wanted to inform you of it. I wanted to inform you both of this.
Now, I don't think I was like in the loop with any of these Ogai storylines, except for that when I was researching other Dragon Clan, I might have heard his name and just didn't pursue that line. So now I hear the name again.
Right.
At the governor's meeting,
you
had that.
You had heard his name there for sure.
Oh,
I think that's the only time we theoretically had heard of him, aside from that research that you did.
What? Maybe I'm forgetting the governor's meeting.
He asked for Miyamoto Ogai to be arrested.
Oh, was I there?
Yes.
All right. Well, then I heard of him then.
Well, he was
meant to be arrested. What? How did he come to be murdered instead?
There was no arrest warrant or notice of appearance issued for Ogai-san. But I wanted to give you this information again as a clansman of his, as well as the men who were, as well as the men who were involved in his protection as a visiting dignitary. And now, I don't know how much you were involved in that, but she is saying the men who. She's pluralizing that statement rather than making it singular in any capacity.
Right. That's fine. I all of a sudden feel responsible to some degree.
Well, I felt it would perhaps be most suitable if then you were to be given this. And she calls in a servant. She calls over to a servant. That servant pops out, and another servant comes in with an urn.
We see a city on a lush river surrounded by miles of fields of red poppies. Immediately around the city are green limestone walls. A group of traveling monks heads north toward the city on a main road. The monks are met by peasants along along the way who offer alms in exchange for blessings and prayers. The camera flies towards Ryoko Owari Toshi, over its green walls and into the noble quarter. We see beautiful houses, a grand and imposing palace, and a foreign mansion that stands out among the traditional architecture. We pass over the north wall into the temple quarter where the city's population pays their respects to the fortunes, their ancestors, and countless other spirits. The temple of Amaterasu, the sun goddess, and the temple of Daikoku, the fortune of wealth, almost shine in the bright day. Moving west, we see the busy streets of the merchant quarter, crowded with vendors selling goods from all over the Emerald Empire, and even some from beyond. We cross over the Bay of Drowned Honor, passing fishing boats, cargo barges, and the pleasure crafts of the wealthy to arrive in the fishermen's quarter. As the name suggests, the docks are swarming with men and women unloading their catches, but they are joined by burly porters. The quarter is much dirtier, the buildings closer together and shabbier. We see two groups of rough men in an altercation. We head south, swiftly passing over the flat gray leatherworkers' quarter, the home of the Eta, the Untouchables. The only building that stands out is the city's crematorium, which belches forth thick, black smoke. When we arrive back at the river, we slowly float southeast to the licensed quarter. Calmly lit in the twilight glow of hanging lanterns, we see samurai patronizing fine sake and geisha houses. We see a man in a basket hat approach an open door as he is beckoned in by a beautiful geisha. And once inside, he removes his hat to reveal he was the monk from the beginning. Closing the door, the geisha looks at the camera and mouths, "Secrets." Ryoko Owari, City of Lies. Executive Producer, Jessica HBO.
My condolences, Ugo. I did not mean for your kinsman to die.
I'm afraid I know little of this man, or am I safe to assume his crimes? But he was of my same clan, and murder is befitting no one. Perhaps this will be a reminder for me to better handle my responsibilities.
Well, excellent.
So, does this urn contain Ogai?
Yes, he was cremated. He was cremated this morning.
Is that customary to be cremated so soon?
We figured that, given that he had no kin and limited, even clan, mates here, that it would be, so given that there was so much, given that there were so few, people to deliver these ashes to, we felt it would be best to, make haste in cremating him to make sure that, he was interred with whatever honors his family back home might see fit.
True. Dragonlands are far from here.
Indeed.
May he rest in peace.
What do we know of the circumstances of his murder?
Oh, his body was found inside the Bay of Drowned Honor, pinned up against one of the piers in the northwestern side of the merchant quarter.
Are there any wound marks on his body?
Are you trying to read this, lady?
Sure, yes.
All right. And if Yuguri was trying to do the same thing, welcome to make that roll as well.
9.
Were there any wound marks on his body? There were.
Did the wounds tell what kind of weapon that was used?
The Edda who did the cremation informed us that it was likely a wound from a heavy sword.
Let's see.
I think I'm going to plan to go there. I want to get precise directions, and
It's the dock on the end of Amber Street.
so
Surely. His death is not that interesting, you right?
there are many deaths within the city, but the ones that are called murders we should try to prevent, especially when there are people who've asked for our protection, and Again, especially when they're members of our own clan, or in this case, my own.
And precisely why I brought this matter to your attention, mostly to deliver these
Feel bad.
ashes to deliver these remains to you. From all we can tell, the body floated down the river and was found at the dock at the end of Amber Street, or Ave, I forget. And likely it occurred outside of the city.
Oh. So when you said he was pinned, you meant like in the water.
Yes, precisely.
Never mind, I'm not going there.
Well, I'll continue to look into it and have some more Thunder Guard patrol that area as well to see what they can find. They'll report any of that to me, and I'll let you know any pertinent information if we find any.
Yeah, it's the place where the place of his death is discovered. That would be the most interesting. Second only, I suppose, to the murderers themselves.
Well, we'll let you know.
Thank you for your assistance, Asaka-san.
Certainly. All right, she is down to leave. You did not ask her. You did not ask any questions from your read a person roll. Do you want to ask her something before she goes?
She's going to stand there silently, thinking, "I want to leave, but for some reason, I just can't turn around."
How did she feel about this person being murdered?
What's the question? How are you really feeling?
Yeah. What's your character really feel?
She's both annoyed and glad that this happened.
How are you really, really feeling?
A lot of that. Well, to your duties, Asaka-san.
Anything from you, Gray?
No.
All right. She bows to the two of you. She heads out. And you now have this urn, this very, plain urn with the ashes of Miramoto Ogai.
Close.
I'll start composing a poem right away.
All right. Sounds like you're coming face to face with your love. Go and make a love roll for me.
Okay.
You're gonna love it.
I don't know how to roll a love roll, but I'll just roll 2 dice.
You got it. On your character sheet, do you have any love marked?
No.
Then just roll 2 dice.
What'd you roll?
That's one that you want to roll generally lower.
I didn't do that.
Okay, you got a 9.
So I'm meant to choose one of these.
On the 7 to 9, you choose one of those.
I'm going to devote the next few days to creating a work of art.
All right. So you go to work on for the next few days on creating a work of poetry.
Yep. And I'm
regarding Miramoto Ogai's.
going to paint it in green onto this urn.
All right. That works. Perfect. Okay.
It's going to be beautiful. Don't look at me like that.
You just immediately take this urn and go to your room?
Yeah. Got stuff to do.
So we cut away from there to horse hooves, galloping horses, and you hear kind of yelling. You see these kind of warriors dismount, and they're in essentially the samurai armor that the Thunder Guard Samurai Squad wear, with only slight variations. So they still have the red plumes on their helmets.
The lightning guard.
And we see these guys kind of charging and then dismounting quickly, running a certain distance, and then remounting these horses to kind of practice that speed at which they can mount and dismount these horses after going at a full gallop.
Are these the regular ponies, or are these giant unicorn monsters?
These, for the most part, are the regular Rokugani ponies. And then we see kind of a low shot of some of these guys doing this, and we see these big towers up behind us. The Tower of the Eyes is what they're called. And these 2 towers that kind of sit on either side of this river. And off in the distance, we see tons and tons of the poppies, the poppy fields. And then we have a shot of Hida Ishii and Bayushi Taiyo there with Shosuro Jocho. And they're you're standing up on this small, almost like wooden platform, kind of watching these guys do this stuff. And there's probably another officer kind of down closer to these dudes on a horse, and he's yelling out different commands as these guys are kind of running through certain drills.
This is, they said they were going to show us.
Mm-hmm. Precisely.
Okay. This is like to impress me, so I'm like, okay, I guess I'll just let the troops go home or some shit.
So they had said that they have a mounted force
For the caravan. Because one of the reasons I want to keep my guys is for the caravan, right?
Well, not only that, but to deal with the mounted forces of Fadesmen.
And how many were there?
There are, if you count them, there are 20 here.
I might ask. He's right there, right,
Mm-hmm.
Jojo? And is this the entire group?
And Jojo kind of looks out over them and he smiles and he says, "No, there are more kept in the city. We never train with the entire force in case some of them are needed."
How many are there total?
And he says, "This is about 2/3 of the force."
Do you always have them practicing mounted combat against foot troops?
He says, "No. We run through a variety of training scenarios."
Oh, I thought you were going to say ETA. You run through a variety of ETA.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Tall one, short one.
Mm-hmm. Even ones with chicken pox.
Just kidding, they all have chicken pox there.
Yeah. It's really more cholera, but sure.
Shingles.
Yeah.
They scream
no,
a lot, but we know.
He basically says that there's. He says, within the city itself, the ability to get from place to place quickly is very useful. Actual mounted combat in the city
is, of course, very rare.
Is much more rare.
I understand completely. I don't want your men to be ill-prepared.
Yeah.
When we are having to fight such a large mounted force as the bandits have organized.
Ishii, in your years of service to the Emperor, have your troops that you brought with you had to deal with mounted combat? Mounted foes?
Yes, we were mounted guard for some time, as noticed by my war horse that I owned at one time. I don't know if it died or not. I feel like we may have had my war horse die. I don't actually remember, but yes, we fought like that for months. Because it was with the caravan, so I don't remember if that time was that.
This is literally the first time I heard of it.
So no, it's doing fine. It's in a stable somewhere.
He's been dead the whole time. You forgot to feed him.
Shit.
Oh, no.
Your Tamagotchi has died.
I wonder if they could give these men any pointers.
Well, of course, they have in the time before they get reassigned. That'd be an excellent project for them. God, some of these names are horrible. I feel like Shige. I already named one of Shige.
The two that we met are Shige and Goro.
Yuko was excellent. Well, I almost called him Junko, so like this is much better. Yuko.
That sounds kind of great too.
And Funko.
Yuko
was an excellent teacher for a long time. That's actually where I recruited him from, his instructor.
Excellent.
Does he let on, or does his facial expression change at all for that?
No, it sounds like you're reading him, but no, it doesn't.
Read this
All right.
way.
Try that. Trying to be your troops wingman over here.
Thanks.
10.
All right, not bad.
Son.
Yeah, he just says like, oh, that's excellent.
Oh, here we go. What's your character wish I do?
He's showing off these forces. He wants you to go along with what was discussed at that meeting. Mm-hmm. That the Thunder Guard are. Yeah, you're only one knowing this. That the Thunder Guard are plenty of force to deal with this thing, and you can utilize them with his help when it's necessary. So go along with that.
Instead of using his troops or anything else, basically.
Ishii's troops, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I'll keep holding those.
All right.
So, and he's the only other kind of person of note here.
Probably there might be some like two other like guys from the samurai squad just like hanging around, but he's the only other. In this scene there are 3 named characters, and Ishii and yourself are 2 of them.
Gotcha.
Jocho's the 3rd.
All right. And then so do you actually those bandits that we saw, were those ponies too? Were those unicorn things?
Ooh. I think for the most part they were ponies.
I only just remember that those are different.
I think for the most part they were. Yeah, no, they were ponies.
Okay.
They were the regular Rokugani ponies,
They
not
just
the
had
giant.
party hats on. It got confusing.
Yeah, party ponies. This genuine pony.
That's old. Long, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because the deal is the regular Rokugan, they're just like pretty small horses, and the unicorn are just like giant Clydesdale.
Yeah, they're just like substantially larger horses. Yeah,
but to us, aren't they? It's like regular sized horses that we would know.
Yeah, these are regular horses.
Okay.
As opposed to the giant unicorn horses. But you probably do, in Ryoko Owari, see more of those horses because there's a larger unicorn population of samurai here.
Gotcha. Yeah, I wonder how these outside people could be getting access to all these horses.
And the place to store them and feed them, it takes a lot of materials to quarter horsemen.
Yeah, even with all the ill-gotten gains they have. I assume would still be difficult.
How many did you encounter?
A dozen?
I don't even think it was that number, but yeah. I think it was, like around 10. So pretty close to that.
A dozen.
Yeah, so he's like...
I don't believe that was their full force.
He'll say, then they may have that force split up in different places.
That does me.
This troops will sure be helpful to your the tactics you were planning, right?
Yes, of course. It'll be an excellent resource in capturing these outlaws. Thank you so much for your help.
And you don't have any idea.
Jojo.
Shizuru Jojo, yeah.
Oh no.
And he'll say,
sorry. Most of these things at this point.
Well, protecting the city is the goal, and these bandits are obviously a significant problem. So I want as much as you do to bring them to justice.
And you haven't heard any more information, or you haven't heard any information about Fate or any of these bandits yet?
There haven't been any additional attacks since you were attacked.
Is your character telling you about knowing anything?
That was a hard left.
That would be good.
It was Jojo.
What?
Because if he was lying, it was him the whole time.
Oh yeah.
Him and these thunder school.
Lightning school.
I was close. I don't have anything else to ask him. Do you? I think these troops will perform admirably.
So I think the guy down below, the officer who's on horseback and yelling out stuff to them, has yelled out something different, and so they're practicing these kind of high-speed galloping charges against almost like dummy targets.
Mm-hmm.
So they're striking at these dummy targets.
Like strawmen.
Yeah, probably that, or melons on top of a post, kind of a thing.
So, do you have any plans on how to go about this, or maybe we could share information?
Well, from what I had understood, you and your colleagues have some kind of ambush set up, or some kind of plan or hope for an ambush.
Yeah. We just didn't know if you had any further insight into such a thing. We were planning on leading a well-known caravan that was going to be stocked with riches, and then hopefully get caught by the bandits around near the hills if they're so blood, and have your forces ready and backup waiting. Just a small number of men directly to archers.
Well, if we could replace some of the, if we could have only a few guards and replace the draft horses with with my men's horses, have them be able to be unbridled quickly, that could put up a significant fight until reinforcements could arrive. The issue would be getting those reinforcements there quickly enough and making sure that the force of the caravan was not overtaken.
Of course, that's built by. I quite enjoy your plan, but at this point, there's little more that we can do to make sure the ambush happens.
You say, well, what did they go after before?
They go after arms caravan. That's generally the biggest one. Mostly they go after merchants.
Mm-hmm.
We were going to pose as merchants, but maybe we ought to just pose as scarce. The word for not really a lot. Guarded. Sparsely guarded arms caravan. Supplies to an adjacent city. I just don't know if they'll attack another one after the first one. They got over 40 pairs of bows and swords and armors, spears.
He kind of looks off and says, but more recently than that. Wasn't there something more recently that they were able to get their hands on?
Yes,
Yes, they attacked us.
They stole our stamp. I was going to call it signet ring.
And they went after that.
So
They went after that small caravan because they knew what was in there.
It's true. That's the other thing we're hoping to find out, is how they knew in there.
Mm-hmm.
They must have spies somewhere.
How indeed.
We interrogated most of the people that we knew of the city. Perhaps there are others we...
Well, what if there was a caravan going out of the city while there was another smaller group coming in with something similar?
Two targets at once, and so do you not think that'll be too big for their forces? At the most, we've only seen 10 men.
Oh, I wasn't planning on having two. I don't think two different. Oh, I think he says something like two different baits. Confuse a fox. He's like, I meant simply that if there was a very prized small group heading towards the city, that could act as bait for these men. And leaving the city at the same time were a larger caravan of merchants who turned out to be more than mere merchants. That would give us an easy reason for why such a force would be on the road, and readily able to engage this enemy when they came upon our bait transport.
I want to requisition the help of the Emerald Champion.
And he says, or the next time you see the Emerald Champion, you have captured Fade.
I meant Lincoln. That's right, the only contact I know.
So
we're curious such a small caravan that there are whispers of it contained port.
So I think he doesn't go into a ton more detail with it, and kind of looks over more of these troops. And so you hear from behind you 30 mounted warriors, more than 200 men at arms, and these bandits haven't been dealt with. And we as the voice for sure, and we as the audience see a camera shot go, and behind you is the ghost of Matsu Fukushu who's talking to you.
I'm not going to say anything out loud, but
who's there?
Ghosts.
Spooky. No, I'm not going to say anything out loud, but I'll stiffen up. We're discussing combat here, and the ghost will be pleased at some point.
Mm-hmm. The officer down below is yelling out new different orders. And now the men are, they're essentially fighting with Boken with the practice swords, against one another. Hmm. And so this is the actual, mounted combat stuff. So at the moment they're doing it just with swords. And they kind of run through that for a while.
What's Jocho really feeling?
Ooh. I think Jocho wants to play with this. He's excited to play with this situation. This gives him the opportunity to use make use of a toy he has that he hasn't as yet to be able to use to its fullest extent.
And how old is he?
Jojo's in his earlier 20s.
Okay, like on the younger side.
Yeah, he's definitely younger. So he's not like a teenager, but he's pretty young. He's 7. He literally thinks these are toys. No, he's definitely in his younger 20s. So I would say the oldest we'd put him would be at like 24, 25.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Past that, and you're into the higher 20s.
It's true. He's got a point. It's true. Higher numbers are bigger.
And he's not that old.
It's true. The lower number your age is, the younger you are.
Hope that helped.
Mm-hmm.
So, Ishi, do you think these... What's your assessment?
Just have another choice.
Have you seen enough?
Could ask, yeah, I've seen enough of this. Could ask the unicorn. I think it's best not to. The cat and dog are talking. It's my suspicion that that's true, or it's about his lie.
And I assume we're like talking away from Jojo.
Yeah, well,
sure.
We walked
Since
away.
we're like, oh, we're going to judge your entire...
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, no, we walked away.
He's speaking to that officer.
Yeah, might not be a bad idea. I'm going to go try to see Lee meet and see what's going on. If there's any news from him.
Sounds like a good plan.
So we return back to the Civil Hall, where it is indeed Aji's office hours, or his time to sign documents and such. And it's been a fairly quiet day. It's never too nuts. There's a lot of paperwork that kind of comes through, but like I said, since you guys split it up, it's quieter. And some merchants have left with requests to go here or there, especially requests to go to Otosanuchi, the capital city. But a woman comes in, and she's wearing kind of fairly conservative clothing. She's wearing one of those long kind of hats, and it's like a round hat, but it's basically what Kung Lao wears from Mortal Kombat 2, but it doesn't have a blade on the end of it.
Okay.
So the helmet is called a jingasa. I don't know what it's called when it's not a helmet, but instead a regular hat. She's wearing this hat, and it's made of... it might be made of like lacquered wood, like very thin lacquered wood. But it's got kind of a ribbon that goes like across the top of it and then holds it under her chin. And as we see this person kind of heading into the Civil Hall, some of the other merchants kind of eye this person a little bit weirdly as the merchant who was just talking to you, as this person comes in, they kind of like look weird. Some of the guards have kind of like given this person the eye. Some of them in the way of like, oh, who's this sexy lady kind of a thing, like somebody kind of like leering at somebody, and other people kind of looking at them like what's the deal with this person? And the only thing we see when we get like kind of a shot of the front of this person, because the brim of the hat kind of like obscures their eyes from us as we first see it, is just that they have blonde hair.
Oh.
And eventually your servant says, another merchant to see you, Aji-sama.
Yes. Bring the merchant in.
And he says, Magda, what would you call, if the person if the samurai they work for is their patron, they are the vassal? I feel vassal isn't the term.
What did they call artists?
Yeah. Artisan? So, the merchant of Shinjo Senafusa. Magda.
Who's that person? Not Magda Willem?
The old, titular head of the Unicorn Clan in the city.
Not Baronado.
Yeah, not Baronado, but the other guy. So he, or she, comes in, and the servant kind of goes off to the side, and she just says, I'm gonna miss this city.
Are we alone? The servant's still here?
He's just off in the corner.
Alright.
The servant's in. Why don't you give it?
So bold of you to be out in the city.
She says,
Well,
well,
it is shade.
If I'm going to be traveling throughout this country, I should at least take my first steps.
Is everything going to be okay at the House of Horror Stories when you're gone?
There can be, sure. I've set up some of the other folks to run things while I've gone. Plenty of instructions. If all else fails, Senafusa-sama will find someone else to run the house if need be.
And how does he feel about you leaving?
It sounds like you're reading her.
What do you plan to do?
So she plans on getting those travel papers from you to go wherever she'd like so she can explore Ryoko Owari. And she is going to leave pretty much later today. So as soon as she can. You guys discuss this. She can't leave today. She'll have to leave like in a day or two. You guys just discussed this yesterday, I think, maybe a couple of days ago. But she plans on going very soon. And, and she'll ask, can we perhaps go for a walk?
Oh, I'm afraid not. I'm working right now. But
she says,
yeah, cold as fuck. She was like, all right, I'm going to leave. And then you're like, all right, fuck you.
I'm surely,
I'm working.
Surely you're a man who can...
that's true.
Surely you're a man who can set your own schedule.
I give him duty, and he keeps on be like, nah, I can't go with you. Got duty all the time. Fucking Ishi, that's
maybe when the Civic Hall is closed, but there are merchants who need traveling papers.
She says, well, I guess that's true.
I'm sorry, but this hurts me to see you go. So, how did Senafusa feel about your departure?
And she says, he's been a good patron, but I'm sure he'll find someone else to fill this role in his house. And I think she like pauses on his, and she's like, in his house.
They're going to be...
Yeah, they do just call them vassals. Sorry.
Patronage is a word that exists in the dictionary.
Mm-hmm.
This is not going to cause Senafusa any trouble, is it?
And she says, he's a man of significant ability and influence. I'm sure he'll be fine.
Sure, he'll be fine as well.
She says, it'll be a shame to leave here without you.
Is there any way I can convince you to stay?
She says, I'll meet you wherever you want, but it's been my dream to see more of this country. I've been cooped up there too long. It's beautiful, but it feels like it's a cage.
You saw two of the questions, right?
But yeah. How could I get her to stay?
Yeah.
How could you get her to stay?
Yeah.
Lock her up.
How could you get her to want to stay?
Oh, that's better.
Yeah.
How could you get her to want to stay? I'll answer both. How could you get her to stay? You can force her to stay. How could you get her to want to stay? You can't.
Oof. Harsh.
She has wanted to leave for a while. This has been like a thing that is long coming
from childhood.
So not from childhood, but definitely for a long while. Like she is a wanderer who likes to explore a lot of places and has seen many, many places, and she has been stuck here essentially.
No, it's like the worst place. She's not in like a village somewhere. Just say, stop it. Ajay, so it changes your mind.
What?
This is there's worse places to be stuck. Just in the village.
Yeah.
Are we not giving out new papers?
What?
Did we shut down travel or did we reopen it?
No, I think we couldn't. Someone argued that it would be impossible.
We knew for a moment. We were like, fuck people traveling. They can all stay here.
So, Magda, why have you come to see me?
And she says, you know that I wanted to say goodbye, and I wanted to know where I should meet you.
What what are we meeting for again? Like usual, or
To like live together for the time.
or to run away?
Done with this.
She said, when you're
released from
released from your duties here,
Let's see.
I wanted to know where I should meet you.
Also, because I don't know when that'll be, I'll just have to go there once every couple weeks and look around, and I'll move on again. Man, life is so inconvenient or something.
I don't have the answer for that. But you could find me here for now.
She says, I've heard that your people's lands are some of the most beautiful. Maybe that's where I'll go first.
Indeed, they are.
Home to your parents.
Yeah.
Can't do that.
Hey, Mom and Dad. Here's this girl.
Look who's coming to dinner.
There's a dilemma here.
What's the one?
She's not upper class.
That's a cool dilemma.
Can't be bringing home like your crabman, bearing some.
We gotta be shitty about it, right? You're the one that's fucking a prostitute.
He hasn't had any problems with it so far.
Yeah, he's doing fine. He and his wife.
He got ousted from the city.
No, not yet. There's more like all of them as a buying group of people. It just says mischievous.
I don't know. What do you plan to do with the Crane lands? Get there.
Kill them all.
Burn to the ground.
I want to find your
She
family.
says, yeah, I've traveled to so many places that are so beautiful and so different. I've gotten so many phenomenal stories from all of these places that honestly I wish you could see. Places that every day for the last, I think she's been here for probably like 4 or 5 years, like at least. Like for years, every day I told people stories of these amazing places. And now I want to see more of this land that I live in.
Then that's what you want to do, so be it. I'll let you leave. I must remain here. I cannot join you.
Just let me get your Snapchat first.
So, do you write her those papers?
So you have one more question?
So, Magda, I'll give you this traveling visa under one condition. You must not speak about anyone, or not speak to anyone about our relationship.
Ooh,
Harsh.
Well,
I think
so ashamed.
you're trying to manipulate her.
You leverage too.
That's 5.
5?
You failed me. So I won't let you leave this place. I won't do this.
And I think she says, you don't love me?
Let's say you fail.
Sorry. Love is such a strong word, but it's highly low.
Whoa! God
Well,
damn!
he rolled a 5. He's just playing it up.
I only love one thing.
She says, you don't have anything to worry about. I won't tell anyone about our time together.
There's nothing to say.
Done.
I enjoyed the time we had together.
All over the place. Love it.
Time to hear about it some more.
Alright, so she says, as did I.
Go live your dreams.
Well, thank you. She kind of like it embraces you and gives you a kiss on the cheek, and then heads out.
Where you go? When do you plan to leave?
She says, as soon as I can. I've been making the arrangements in the last few days. Like I said, I'll go to your clan's lands, and specifically your family's as well. But no, I won't mention you. But if you need me, I'm sure you can find someone there to get a message to me.
Let's see. Sayonara. Like that.
Sayonara, Aji-san. She kind of readjusts her hat. Maybe she took her hat off during that conversation. Puts it back on, heads out. So, you get I think at the magistrate's residence, in the midst of your urn painting.
Almost done.
All right. And poetry writing. There had been visitors And several days afterwards, you look at the messages from those visitors.
Uh-oh. They left notes.
Mm-hmm.
Magistrate duties. Sorry, guys.
And there's a variety of them.
We come out and get a couple.
But one of them was from Shosuro Gobai, who was the governor's brother-in-law.
All right.
Uh-oh.
What's that one say?
And it basically says, he wanted to speak with you about the shipment that had come in from your lands. He's done the best he can to take care of it. But if you have anything, but if you have any particulars about that, the merchant he shipped things to, or put your people in contact with, was Yasuki Nobuko. Yasuki Nobuko's person. He'll say that.
I feel like I should probably follow up with that. Because I don't basically know any of that stuff, right? Like, I know who that... I guess I recognize the name as...
You met him at the first, welcome meeting of the governor and her...
But I wasn't expecting a shipment from Dragon Territory, was I?
No, but you also had a heads up that there was a shipment that your sister-in-law wanted to make to the Crablands.
Right. And I wasn't necessarily on board with that, but I didn't realize she was going to be doing it already. So, I guess I want to talk to this guy, and I want to see the shipment.
So you want to meet with the Shosuro Gobai?
Yeah, he said he handled it as well as he could, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I got to talk to him and see what he means by that.
Okay. So, if you go to meet up with him, he has an office somewhere that he handles things in the... He's the governor's brother-in-law, but he also seems to have a mansion of his own in the noble quarter, and you can meet him at that mansion. And so there's some Thunder Guard that are guarding the place. You head in, and it's very, very nice, very well decorated. You can tell this guy has a lot of money. And he comes in. He's not very imposing. He's a little bit shorter than average, but not by much. He has a receding hairline to a certain degree. He's not a bad-looking guy. The only goofy thing is that he wears a mask that is basically like a warthog's nose.
All right.
It's up with your entire clan.
Great.
And
I understand.
he'll kind of eventually, he'll meet with you. I'll say you have to wait for a bit. Like when you get there, they'll say, like, oh, our master's not at home at present, but you're welcome to stay and wait. Which is in this society, the incredibly common thing of, like, hold on. That's basically we're putting you on hold, but in physical form.
I can handle being on hold for a while.
Yeah. So I feel several hours later, a servant comes in and kind of ushers you toward like a little garden. Or, no, not a garden. It's a meeting room, but he has a lot of like bonsai trees and like statues and paintings in there. Like the place is very well decorated. And he meets with you and kind of just welcomes you and says, let me get my notes on this guy. Oh, welcome to my home.
Thank you for...
That was in the notebook.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for meeting with
Just
me.
says that in huge letters.
On such short notice. I understand I was indisposed when I received your message, and only now have I become aware of the situation.
He'll say, well, you're busy. I understand that. Mm-hmm. He'll motion over to some servants, and they bring some like little trays, which just sit in front of you guys. And he's like, something to drink?
Tea, thank you.
And he says, certainly. And the servant will come out. And so,
Sweet tea.
You're dressed like the colonel. He'll kind of pour you some tea, You guys kind of do that and very, very polite. And he'll sit there and kind of sip on some of the tea.
So, can
The
you
wafting thing.
tell me more about the shipment that came in? I'm afraid I was unaware it was on its way.
And he says, "Oh, it was a shipment from your lands, and I connected them with a crab merchant, or the patron of a crab merchant."
Am I too late to see this shipment for myself?
He says, "Well, it's really more of a matter for." So he'll say, like, "It all depends on their schedule."
Yes, of course.
So, do you want? Are you trying to read this dude? Maybe.
I don't think so. I just
Okay.
want to know about the shipment. I mean, is it going to take a read a person roll or something to get him to tell me where I can go try to see the shipment?
It's just you're asking a bunch of questions, so you don't have to do it. But he'll say, Yusuke Nabuko's vassal should have that.
And do I know where to find that person?
Do you know where?
Yeah.
I don't think you've ever even heard of that person.
Right. Does he know where that person is? I mean,
Again, that sounds like you're reading him.
right?
Okay.
9.
No, cool. All right.
How can I get your character to just tell me about the shipment? Where can I see it?
Flip the table over.
This tea is not sweet enough.
So, it's how can you get him to do that?
I've been waiting here for 5 hours. All I wanted to do was see this shipment, and he's beating around the bush.
How can you get him to tell you about this shipment? Is that your question?
I'll take where I can see it for myself, but yeah, anything he knows about it.
So all his answers are very, very short. And he'll say like, "Oh yeah, depending on their schedule, Yusuke Nabuko's vassal will have it."
Yeah, he already said that part. How can I get him to tell me like more? Because that's not actionable for me, because I don't know who that person is.
So who is that person?
Whatever I need to know to actually see the shipment.
So
Like an address would be great.
he can tell you that he thinks her vassal has a spot in the merchant quarter at such and such place.
All right. Well, then I will politely play out whatever society expects me to do at his house. But I'm ready to go once I know that location.
Just tip the teacup over and leave.
Is this standard? Just knock it off the table.
Oh, goodbye.
Yeah, wait, are you a cat? Why did you do that?
He did. There's what the fuck?
Say that.
Oh, okay.
The neighborhood he tells you is in the Two Gates neighborhood.
I'll thank him for his help in helping to handle the shipment. And for his time and his tea.
Oh, certainly.
I'll chug the rest of it.
Okay.
Burn the shit out of your mouth.
Luckily, very small cups.
It's just a shot.
Yeah, it pretty much is. You hop back on the road here.
Mm-hmm.
And what's your next game plan?
I want to go to that place that he said.
All right. So you head up. It is on the main thoroughfare called Mountain Goblin's Rest Road. And it's a shop called Southern Treasures, which is a shitty name. But Southern Treasures, and you know that makes sense. The Crab Clan are in the south.
Hmm.
And the sweet tea, it's all coming together.
Yeah.
So you go there, and
Howdy, partner.
howdy, partner, indeed.
Try to fit in.
So, Southern Treasures is pretty large. There's a big sign outside that says Southern Treasures, and there are other like smaller signs that say
Western Treasures.
no, that say like goods from across Rokugan and beyond, one of a kind items, rare and precious commodities. Like so there's lots of signs like that throughout the place. And like I said, it's pretty big.
I'm going to go inside of it.
Sounds awesome.
And
This over.
if there are any people there. I want to talk to them.
So, you see a man who seems to be the proprietor,
That's the guy.
who is named Whisper, and you somewhat recognize him from the dossier.
Somewhat recognized, huh?
Mm-hmm.
He seems familiar.
And you hear, hello, how are you? Oh, and he bows, and he says, Dragon-sama, how may I be of assistance to you today? Are you here to purchase some of our more mystical wares?
I will glance around and
he says, here, there's so many things I have.
There's a monkey's ball.
Yeah. And he says, I have vials of purified Oni blood, pearls of the Naga. Ooh.
Right, this guy I want to read, actually.
Oh, yes. Go ahead and make that roll. Please go. Absolutely.
Whoa, barely got it.
13.
Yes, a 13, a lucky number in some lands, in other lands so unlucky.
Yeah, so is your character telling the truth?
I don't know what you're asking me about.
Well, I said he's got Oni's blood and all kinds of crazy stuff.
He's got a bunch of crap.
Okay.
That's what they said.
I'll hold
He's got a bunch of junk.
Disappointed for a fucking hour.
I'll hold 2 for now.
And you look around and he's got a ton of stuff.
Because I think I was legitimately intrigued for a second, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't think I can.
Intrigued.
Like, I don't want Oni blood, but some of that sounded interesting.
Look at that pearl, it's just a grape.
It's just great. And then I had like a hint of clarity, like maybe he's not telling the truth. All right, so he's got.
He's like, indeed, purified. He's like, I see that Oni's blood caught your eye. Purified by the Kuni themselves. This demon's blood, I hear, has many magical properties for a. Are you perhaps a priest? I'm sure there are many incantations and rituals that could be done with this to increase your connection to the kami.
I'm afraid I did not come to deliver this bad news, but this is not true Oni's blood, nor is that a true unicorn horn or whatever.
And he's like, oh no, I got this from a renowned Kuni witch hunter. So near to the wall, and all of the proceeds go to benefit the brave soldiers of the Crab Clan who each day strive to defend this world from the horrors that seek to beset us.
I only felt it necessary to share with you my knowledge and assessment. However, that is not my purpose here. It's come to my attention that you have recently processed a shipment from my very own sister-in-law in the Dragonlands.
He's like, oh, and you are...
I will show him my badge or whatever.
Uh-huh.
Say, I'm Agasha Yurgure.
Ah, yes, indeed. A shipment from the Agasha lands, indeed, and excellent. Very, 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 very much so.
And on the behalf of my sister-in-law, I am, and my family, I would like to take a look at the shipment and ensure that everything she sent has arrived.
He says, oh, well, unfortunately, it's not yet arrived, but due any day. Absolutely any day. It's a significant distance. The Agasha do indeed live far up in the north of the Empire.
Is that contrary to what the other guy told me?
The other guy said, well, depending on the schedule.
Okay, I thought he was saying that it had come in.
He was basically like, he didn't give you a when it did or would arrive.
Okay, I thought he was saying it had come in, and so I was worried it would have left already. Come in and left.
From what he had told you, it could have.
But
it could also have not arrived,
okay.
Or it could be here. Yeah, like you said, he didn't give you many answers.
Right. Okay. So I mean, I got 2 more hold on this read a person.
Mm-hmm.
Can I ask the same question again?
I think you're going to have to ask it a little differently.
Okay, what does he intend to do?
Oh, he intends to, I'll try to answer what you were asking there as well. He intends to, as soon as this stuff gets in, pack it up and ship it down to Crablands as quick as he can get it. This is something he's not used to dealing with.
Okay.
And you look around and see all the stuff he's selling,
Right.
and go, he is not used to dealing with this.
Well, I mean, I don't necessarily know what's in the shipment. Like, I could assume, right? But I don't know.
And they say it was like jade stuff.
He probably knows.
Right. So my third question shall be, how can I get your character to tell me everything he knows about it? Shipment.
So, the easy answer is buy a bunch of shit from the store.
All right.
If you give this guy one wealth, he'll just spill his guts.
So I'm gonna get a shopping basket and just open conversation with this guy.
These are Oni's ears, the ears of a demon cut off by brave crab warriors beyond the wall.
Literally just like leaves.
It's a pig ear.
Exactly.
All right. So I don't.
You already know that they're crab. Yeah, they're like desiccated donkey ears.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get things that I could maybe repurpose into like a craft or something pretty. I don't need donkey ears or any kind of anything blood, but
A cup of glitter.
yeah, whatever.
Elbow macaroni.
Yeah, with an eye toward repurposing some of this junk, I'm gonna select accordingly and just let him talk while I fill up like a shopping basket. And yeah, I'll dump a wealth on him. Like,
There are books of poetry that are here.
Oh shit, son. You have fallen into the trap.
I think-
of poetry.
yeah, I'm
Written
like,
by Noni.
I'm like tempted to just like fill the basket up with those, and I maybe hesitate in front of it.
That's
a level. We've done so few of them. We've only done like I think 2 of them so far in the game.
So I'm trying to roll low here.
And you did 5, so you gain a love, but by rolling a 5 on a love roll,
you hide your...
exactly. You hold your shit together, but it builds up.
Yeah, so I'm gonna grab one book.
So I think if you look through it, it's like not very. Yes, it's stuff that you've read before,
Yeah, but I
and the
haven't seen
equivalent
it in
of
this cover.
Sure. So there are like several different books of poetry, but I almost feel like it's the equivalent of if someone was a philosopher and really into philosophy, and you got them as a present, you're like, oh, you graduated with a doctorate in philosophy, and you're super into philosophy. Oh, I was going to say, like, here's like Spider-Man in philosophy, like a really like where you're just like
Eat, Pray, Love.
Yeah, here's Eat, Pray, Love.
That's like literally the situation with my sister. That's why I just bought off her wish list instead. Like, to avoid that exact problem.
Is that your actual sister or your...
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway...
but yeah, if you burn a wealth in this store buying a bunch of this guy's useless shit...
Like someone who loves Larry Potter.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Or buying Larry Potter.
Ooh, I think that is maybe that is something that you see that like these just seem like knockoff versions of other people's stuff as well. There are a lot of copies of Memoirs of an Opium Eater.
Oh, that thing.
Yeah, that you guys have, but it's like the edited versions.
Walmart version.
Yeah, well,
Signed by the vendor.
Oh, all of the copies are like personally signed from before the and very rare because after all, the poor girl, the poor author, and he doesn't know who it is. The poor author did indeed die.
So sad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So as you're walking around filling up, there's somebody else that works in the shop who's carrying the stuff for you. You don't have a basket or a cart, but
AKA shopping cart.
or Buttons is there doing it.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So, yeah, I'm going to buy it. Tell me everything you know about this shipment.
Oh, well, yeah. Shosuro go. Basically, his patron was contacted by someone from the palace. He assumes it's Shosuro Gobai to basically take all this all this jade. And, sorry, we're always talking about opium. To take all this jade and move it down to Crablands. And so basically they bought it from, he thinks, Gobai. And, no, he would know. So they bought it from Gobai, one of Gobai's merchants. and they're going to bring it down. They just have to kind of rustle up like a ship to send it down the river and down to Crablands. That's the game plan.
All right.
So he did not at any point contact your sister-in-law. He had zero contact with her or anybody from your homelands.
I want to know...
Jade. I know I said the wrong thing.
Yeah, Jade. When it's going to be here.
And he said it should be here. It should be here soon.
Well, I want him to let me know when it is here.
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
And don't ship it off right away.
And I think he's like, oh, well, sometimes the river itself can be pretty dangerous. There has to be a quality barge to get a shipment down the river. And honestly, it's been dangerous lately. I mean, you've heard those stories about the bandits. I'm sure, as a magistrate, you're in the know. I'm just so afraid of something like that. I mean, if we perhaps had some, we'd want to make sure that everything worked out for your family's business as much as possible.
So he's basically saying we got to send it as soon as we can once it gets here, so that it doesn't get stolen.
No. So he's saying like, oh, say it's just the margins on this stuff. The crowd need it so much, and it would be a shame to sell it at too high a markup to them, given how important it is to defending the empire. It's sometimes difficult to both pay for everything to get it down there and pay to make sure it's safe. It's a real shame.
Is that a threat? Is that what he's doing?
So do you have any more questions left on this guy?
I do not have any more questions left.
Oh. So he's like, I mean, anything, if any extra help you could give us would really be appreciated.
I may send, if you haven't heard from me by the time it arrives, send for me and I can help ensure its safety. And I know he wants money. I don't know how to hint that I know he knows. Like,
he knows?
Yeah, like maybe I'm like holding a coin or something. Like, I can help ensure that, like, the safety if you let me know when it gets here.
Yeah. He's like, oh, absolutely. Yeah. So he'll let you know as soon as this stuff arrives.
Yeah. I kind of want to find my Lotus guy, or not Mantis guy.
Shrimp.
And I got a job for him to watch this place and basically find out about the shipment and just have him keeping an eye on it.
Okay. So it sounds like you're hiring Shrimp then.
Yeah, I want to hire Shrimp.
That's going to be another wealth to hire Shrimp to do this.
That's fine. I don't spend that normally. How many wealths do I have?
You start with at least one, like at the start. You may have some from before.
Yeah, I never tracked it. I guess every session you have one, so I already spent one this session. So maybe I can't hire Shrimp.
If you're hiring him, he'll take it that you owe him.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll pay him next session. So, yeah, I want to find Shrimp and tell him, find out about this shipment, like, figure out where it's coming in, and then, yeah, I mean, that's it. Like, find out where it's coming in, find out what's in it, and then keep an eye on this guy when it does come in, and then if it's going to go out before I get to look at it, just watch it and let me report back, basically.
Sure. Yeah, he's fine with that. Anything else? Any other small scenes that anybody wants to run?
Yeah. I need to have Magda assassinate.
You need to have Magda kill him?
Yes.
Just a small scene.
Okay.
Quick assassination in and out.
Well, not necessarily killed. I'll just ask her to get taken care of in the usual methods that I have kind of grown accustomed to.
Why do you want to kill her?
I have no assurances.
Alright, so Aji, you want to get rid of Magda somehow. Alright, do you want her to just leave because she's already planning on going, or you want her to be dead?
I know she's leaving, but I don't know if she'll keep to her word.
All right.
Or, it's like I don't want to be associated with her leaving.
Okay. Do you want to have a scene where you talk to her, or you talk to somebody about her?
Talk to someone about her.
Okay. Do you have someone in mind?
Based on my character experience, every time I talk to like Osako or Shoujo, if I talk to the Governor Hyobu, she'll be like, just talk to Osako or Shoujo. And then I'll just talk to one of them.
Okay.
And then something gets resolved.
It worked last time. That guy died.
I have no reason to believe that it wouldn't work this time.
Okay. I think if you do you have a one of them you'd like to speak with?
Talk to the two of them work differently.
Last time. Who'd you talk to last time? Did you talk to both?
He brought that up at a meeting with all of you and Shosuro Hyogu, the governor, and her son Jocho, the head of the Thunder Guard, and Yoko Osako, the sheriff, who is like a sheriff is like the magistrate of the whole county.
Yeah, I pick Osako.
All right. So, any particular place you meet up with her?
I mean, we're right next to each other.
So
we do it like after my working hours. Just drop by.
So, I think when you start to broach this subject at all, she does not want to have this conversation at work. She's like, I think she'll bring you to. No, she'd be fine with this. She doesn't care. So yeah, so she'll just talk with you about it and say like, oh, Aji-san.
Well, having trouble with the women again.
I think I may have messed up the order in the city. I signed some traveling papers for Magda to leave, but I don't think her Lord Shikune Fusa?
Shinjo Sanafusa.
Sanafusa will be happy about that.
What is it that you need?
Just wondering if you make it look like she ran away and got killed by bandits.
She said, "You're really afraid. You really think that you're really afraid that this Gaijin woman needs to be dealt with? Or you really think that this Gaijin woman needs to be dealt with? So you're really so determined that this Gaijin woman be dealt with?"
Am I determined? Yes. I'm afraid that my reputation will be at stake, and I will lose my position as a magistrate.
She'll say, "Well, if you're this determined, then it must be indeed a very significant. It must be a very significant problem. Her continued threat to you. I'm sure something can be done about that."
Thank you. I'm in your debt.
And she says, "Well, indeed. I mean, these kind of things don't come cheaply."
Yes. So many things we can rely on.
And she says, and reliability in this kind of thing is exactly what's important. And reliability often requires that a certain sum be forfeited.
What were you thinking of?
She says, to make sure that a person is significantly silenced, a sum of 5 wealth would certainly make sure that it is done as efficiently as possible. So, someone with a
faceless man.
So someone with such a notable, the Hatamoto of the Unicorn Clan as her patron, which
the price is a bit steep, but I think I can agree to it.
Excellent. Well,
Bates kept knocking at the door.
Yeah.
Done.
So she says, "All right. Well, can't catch her. Well, the sooner it seems that she's likely to be leaving the city fairly soon. the sooner that money is put forward to ensuring her silence, the better.
I'll see what I can do.
And she's like, again, to ensure her silence, I would take haste.
Oh, heed your words. Thank you.
All right.
Alright.
Okay. Did you want to read her at all?
Sure.
Okay. I figured to just offer it. 9.
Telling the truth, Hassan?
Yeah. If you get her this money, she can see this happen.
That's all I want to know.
All right. Easy.
How much wealth do I have?
How much wealth do you have?
I don't think I have.
How much did you start with? Yeah.
Everyone starts with like 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
We get 1 per session.
Oh.
You didn't have any additional amount in your outfit as a bushi or as a duelist?
No.
Yeah, so you probably have 1.
Alright.
You should give her 1 now up front, so that next session you'll have another one.
Let's be in debt. Or need to get that money somehow.
All right. Okay.
Iago?
Mm-hmm. Was that a line from Iago?
No, it's the Shakespeare play.
I know. I'm not from, like...
Yeah.
That
was his whole thing, right?
Yeah.
Pound of flesh.
I'm a bird. I've got an evil plan.
What does that play?
Othello.
There you go.
Yeah.
Black and white. Nope.
Nah.
That's the game.
I'm describing the cookie. All right.
What'd you say?
Return of Jafar.
Mm-hmm. You're only second rate. It's a song from Return of Jafar. All right. We returned back to the
Jafar.
Oh, yeah.
You got it.
We were near, and now we're Jafar.
Gasa means hat.
What's it called when it's a bladed weapon?
Kung Lao's hat.
Oh, that's
Okay.
What's it called when it's made of blocks and you have to stack it up as high as you can?
Tetris. Well, no, it's more nuanced than that.
We heard the story of you not knowing how to play Tetris.
I love that. I was so confused, and no one in my family could explain it to me.
City of Lies is Tone as Kakita Aji, Brandon as Hida Ishii, David as Bayushi Tayo, Andrew as Agasha Yugure, and Austin as your Game Master. The theme music for City of Lies is Mission of Danger by Lobo Loco. Additional music for this episode includes Q5, Dark, Somber, Sad, Spooky, Ambient by Solar Flare.
This American Dice Ryoko Owari City of Lies uses the City of Lies box set by Greg Stolz, published by Alderac Entertainment Group. The mechanics used is a modified PBTA system by Brendan Taylor of Galileo Games. Join us next time for more This American Dice.